Go ahead, Jen.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Today I will be giving a speech about the classic literature and its impact on the modern society. Classic literature is often seen as obscure or irrelevant to the modern world, but it actually has significant influence on not only the field of literature, but also on the values and norms of modern society. Classic literature is not just books that are old. For a book to be considered a classic, it must be culturally important and the style of writing must be high quality. Classic literature ranges from Odyssey, the epic poems of ancient Greek written by Homer, to the dystopian 1984 by George Orwell. In this speech, I will talk about how classic literature influences modern society. First of all, authors of classic literature often present new ways of thinking and challenge the accepted social norms. A good example is this book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, written by Richard Bach. This 140-page novel revolves around a seagull named Jonathan Livingston, who had no interest in hunting fishes and fitting into its society of seagulls. Instead, Jonathan has always had a passion for flying. All he does in a day is practice flying until he was banished from his society. He continued to practice flying and achieved more than he thought he could. The novel was written in 1970. It presented the idea that we can achieve or become much more than we believe. It taught us that we all have freedom to become whatever we want to be, even if society says otherwise. The fourth part of the story was also added sometime after the first publication. It talked about how worshipping something too much can turn it into an untouchable legend rather than a grounded lesson that it is. After Jonathan taught his flying technique to the other seagulls, it turned into a religious legend in which Jonathan was the god, and flying was considered something so sacred that the seagulls stopped practicing it out of respect. The story repeated its main point when a young seagull rebelled against the norm and practiced flying anyway. In modern days, this idea may seem like something ordinary, but I would argue that the novel and other similar books helped us achieve that in a way. Books like this teach the readers and society to accept new things rather than sticking to absolute traditions. This is a prime example of the cultural importance part of classic literature. Second, classic literature can help us understand the values people's way of thinking in older times, how they thought about the future, and we can compare those to our modern society. This can be seen through both the books themselves and the reactions of people regarding those books. Uh, J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye, this book, reflected how each era of America thought of the youth. At first, it wasn't so successful. It was banned from many schools for being obscene and that it was corrupting the youth. However, as time passed by, Catcher in the Rye became a required reading book for many American schools. It is fascinating how a single novel can reflect the perspective of so many people, from protecting the youth from an immoral piece of literature to letting them learn about the true nature of growing up. In George Orwell's 1984, it is obvious that the author wanted to warn the world about the danger of powerful totalitarian governments that could become true in the near future. Warnings hidden in novels like this can be a powerful tool in spreading awareness to the readers. The population is an important part of the society, so the impact from a widely known book which talks about the oppression of the people, is surely significant. In conclusion, classic literature can present new ideas, challenge existing traditions, and influence the people tremendously, which then influences the society as we know it. Now that we know how powerful a well-written story can be, it is not surprising that people throughout the history have used literature as a means to express themselves and how they view the world. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zen. That's very interesting.